And I would argue, and that has been, I guess, sort of the mainstream narrative too, that the US stock market specifically is trading at maybe quite elevated levels. And you probably didn't see it yet, but in our community I shared a table. I'm just going to describe what it states to the listener here. Perfect. So basically, the table is taken from a blog post by Bridgewater. That's basically it's a hedge fund, I guess, that Ray Dalio fund runs. And the blog post is by, I think it's one of the investment officers called Bob Prince. And I'm just going to start quoting him, and then I'll describe what the table actually depicts. So he wrote, and that's of course just a small passage from that blog post. Out of any 15-year period to be invested in equities dating back to 1970, the one we've just lived through was the best. Stocks, especially US stocks, have been on a relentless tear, with any dips quickly fading into memory. Returns have been more than double the average. The run-up has enriched investors greatly. How can investors lock in gains and continue to capture great returns as the world evolves? Almost every investor is positioned the same way, and there's a paradox at work in that positioning. So let me first comment on that perspective by him here, maybe. I think he's onto something. So I think one of the most common cognitive biases investors suffer from is recency bias. So you tend to extrapolate recent trends, developments, price developments into the future almost indefinitely. And I think what investors have to acknowledge right now is that we're basically at the end of a 15-year period where stocks have performed, and US stocks specifically, exceptionally well, and that you cannot just simply expect that the same will happen over the next 15 years. In fact, I would argue that the odds of a similar performance are quite slim nowadays, just because the last 15 years have definitely beaten historical expectations.